What is up, YouTube? Hold up, I'll talk about Jack in the Pack in just 1 second, but first, listen to this. Isn't it great? Isn't this awesome? Don't you love it? Wasn't that the best thing ever? Well, that is my new theme song, folks. This was composed by the extremely talented Tugster Intensifies. I cannot thank you enough for making this for me, man. It's just the best thing ever. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get on to the main topic of the video. Jack and the Pack. Actually, the only reason I'm talking about this is because of a poll I did on Twitter a long while back. Even though the overwhelming majority of voters on that poll wanted me to talk about Season 12 and Magic Railroad, someone commented below suggesting I talk about Jack in the Pack. I saw that post and I was like, huh. That's actually a really good idea. It's not a movie or a season, it's more of its own unique thing. And I feel it's the perfect thoughts on a follow-up to Season 7 one, since the Pack episodes and Season 7 kinda go together hand in hand. I would have credited whoever suggested the idea, but when I went back to find the post, it wasn't there anymore. Did you delete it, user I didn't catch the name of? Either way, I thank you for the video suggestion, whoever you are, and if you're watching this right now, just know you're the reason that this video exists, so you get a gold star. Good job. So for the younger viewers watching who have no idea what the friggity frack Jack in the Pack is, let me explain. Jack in the Pack was the unsuccessful attempt to create a spin-off series of Thomas the Tank Engine. The concept was simple, the same format as Thomas the Tank Engine, but to be focused on a fleet of talking construction vehicles instead of a fleet of talking trains. I want to say that when everyone discovered that a Jack in the Pack spin-off was a thing, everyone was intrigued. No one could believe this was real, and then after everyone saw the episodes, it was like nobody cared. And I will never understand how the Pack episodes still don't manage to get as much love as they do, because at the time, I thought they were like the best things ever, and I still do to an extent. I remember my first exposure to this was an ad for the On-Site with Thomas DVD at Target on the TV screens in their entertainment section, and I foolishly reacted, "Holy crap, that looks just like Season 7! Classic Thomas is making a comeback!" And while it wasn't really Classic Thomas, it kinda was, in some ways. You see, Jack in the Pack was planned all the way back in 2001 during production of Season 6. And to make sure that kids would be familiar with the characters before the spin-off launched, 2 episodes from Season 6 were devoted to introducing these characters. And please, no one shoot me for saying this, but the Pack 2-parter are some of my favorite episodes from that season. Just the fact it was a legitimate 2-parter focused on all new characters was something I always found extremely fascinating. And if you saw my Diesel's Ghostly Christmas review from months ago, you'll know that I'm a big fan of 2-parters. There's just something so special and grand about them that places them above regular episodes. The actual Jack in the Pack spin-off was filmed in late 2002 alongside Season 7, hence why the Gauge 1 engines and sets look exactly the same. And after completing 13 of the 26 episodes planned, the project was scrapped when HIT bought the franchise's rights and cancelled the Pack completely. Probably because, at least for what I can assume, their interests were more towards reforming Thomas into a more marketable, educational property, rather than to continue world building. The incomplete season of Pack episodes was packed away in storage, thought to never see the light of day again, until one day, HIT decided to release them as DVD exclusives in 2006, alongside loads of merchandise tie-ins, which obviously sold very well because they still make them to this day. Seriously, they still make the Wooden Patrick in 2016. Do kids even know who he is? The episodes themselves had a very Season 7 feel to them, and while a couple of the episodes are a little silly or dull, much like Season 7, they're still very enjoyable. Even though the crew only completed half of what was initially planned, each Pack character still managed to get focus in at least one episode they each got to star in. And since we're on the topic of the characters, I may as well share with you who my favorite one is. That, my friends, is Mr. Olivator. I love Oliver's humble character, his super detailed prop, his hilariously expressive face masks, and the fact the prop's arm is compatible with different tools is pretty cool. Oliver's episodes were the most interesting ones in my opinion. Thomas's Trusty Friends is without a doubt my favorite episode of the bunch, and all the humor with Oliver is why. Especially this gem of a scene right here.
Ouch! Said Oliver. Ouch! Ouch! Ouch!
Do you guys remember when Thomas was full of clever humor like this that any age could enjoy? Man, I sure do. I truly miss those days.
Ouch!
And while I love the characters and the episodes, the reason I find Jak and the Pack so interesting is not because of the content itself, but more for its production history. There is so much behind this spin-off that is still a mystery to us. The episodes came into the public eye out of nowhere in 2006, 10 years ago, and still to this day there is so much we don't know about it. It's very similar to Tugs in that regard, where its existence was so short-lived that the people working on it forgot all about it before we even knew what it was. Tugs is almost 30 years old, and we're still finding out new information about it. And I absolutely know that the amount of production history yet to be discovered is why I'm still such a die-hard fan of it. My interest in Jak and the Pack is very similar. And while I can say that Tugs is like, you know, perfect, I can't say the same about Jak and the Pack. There were so many baffling decisions made with this series. One of the biggies for me was the series' overly long, terrible, clunky official title. The official title is Jak and the Sodor Construction Company. Are you serious? That super long, clunky-ass title is the official name, not Jak and the Pack? You know, the name that rolls off the tongue so easily? I'm absolutely certain it was called Jak and the Pack during production, and HIT had to have changed it to something generic and inoffensive because they didn't like it. And I only assume this because they don't use the collective term the Pack at all in any of the episodes. They're always referred to as Miss Jenny's Machines or... Thomas's friends.
Thomas's friends, his friends, his friends, his friends, his friends, his friends, his friend, his friend, his friend's friends.
Never the Pack. Has anyone else ever noticed this? I first noticed this in 2006, and it's bugged me to hell ever since. They called them the Pack in Season 6 before HIT took over, and I'm sure if HIT had the resources to do so, they would have gone back and redubbed those just to axe the term. Another thing that bugs me is the stupid, bland-ass episode titles. They're not the original titles. HIT again changed them to shoehorn Thomas and Percy into them. Some of them don't even make sense now, like Percy's Scary Tale. Percy doesn't even tell the scary tale in that episode. It was Kelly. What the fuck? The original titles are so much better. They were leaked on Virgin TV's website sometime back when they were streaming the episodes. Percy Helps Out's actual title is Nelson Gets Carried Away. On site with Thomas was The Importance of Being Patrick. And A Visit from Thomas, Oliversaurus. See? Much better. Why'd you have to go and mess with crap that wasn't broken, HIT? You messed up Season 7 for the US, and you messed up the Pack episodes for everyone. Real good going there. But the biggest problem I have with the Pack series is actually something that HIT had no involvement with whatsoever, or at least to my knowledge. My biggest gripe with the Pack series was the inclusion of either Thomas and Percy in every single episode. Why do they have to be in this at all? I mean, this is meant to be a Thomas the Tank Engine spin-off, as in a series separate from Thomas that takes place in the same universe. So why include Thomas in every episode? Why even involve the railway at all? It can't feel like its own series separate from Thomas when Thomas's presence is always there. Thomas and Percy feel so shoehorned into these episodes that it's not even funny. I wouldn't mind if they appeared every now and then, but why couldn't we ever just get one episode that was focused solely on the Pack, that is completely separate from the railway? Just one episode is all I'm asking for. Just one! People complain that Thomas felt too shoehorned in the series from Season 8 onwards, but let me tell ya, this whole shoehorning crap started way before that. So, in conclusion, I find Jak and the Pack to be incredibly interesting. It definitely has some flaws, most of which came from HIT's last-minute tinkering, but the concept was fun and handled really well in my opinion. I feel the characters have so much untapped potential, and considering how much detail and effort were put into making the props, it's a real shame they weren't used more. But now that Mattel has brought a good chunk of them back into the Thomas series in CG, maybe now the Pack will finally get some of the love that they've been neglected. What they already did with them in Soda's Legend of the Lost Treasure was phenomenal, and I eagerly await to see what the team has planned for them come Season 20. Jack in the Pack is a Thomas spinoff that I honestly would have loved to see take off the ground. And I still wonder what it would have been like now if it had. Would Mike and Jr. have composed the music for it? Would it have featured a different narrator? Would it still have the Thomas and Friends logo attached? Just imagine, what if? Alright, so those were my 2 cents on Pack and Jack. I also want to take a moment here to give a shout out to Ben, aka Nebbles1 from Twitter, for making me the new boomer icons for my videos. I absolutely love them, man. You've definitely given the icon a lot more life. And another shout out to Tugster as well for the new theme song. You guys are just the best, and I love both of you. Links to their channels are in the description, so everyone, go check out their stuff. Go subscribe to them. These guys are both extremely talented at what they do. Thank you again, guys, for watching this video, and I'll speak with you again soon in the next Thoughts On. Peace.
Ouch! Ouch! Ouch!
Feels good to finally have talked about Jack in the Pack. Let me go update my checklist. Let's see what I can check off. Thoughts on Season 7? Done. Unanswerable Thomas Questions 2? Finally done. Thoughts on Jack in the Pack? Done. Thoughts on the Great... Uh-oh. Alrighty. Well, better get started.